Ah! Hello there, my friend! Come and take a seat here by the fire. Homebrew table rules and such are fine and all, but when it gets to the point of frustration for the people at the table, well, maybe it's time to reevaluate a few things. DM doesn't realize that more features does not make the game better. r/RPG horror stories, posted by Jay the Snake 1. I have been playing with my normal group for a few years now, and since the beginning of quarantine, suddenly everything changed within the environment of my tabletop group. As a result of the game possibly becoming boring, the current DM has decided to change up quite a bit of the game's rules midway through. Before we begin, I would like to list out the characters who are important to the story. Me, DM, Rowan, and Jay. Unfortunately, I cannot pin anyone down specifically to make this easier due to the contents of the story, which I hope will explain the lack of character descriptions. The story began about a year ago, once quarantine began within the United States. We all found ourselves bored due to a few weeks with the inability to meet up for our weekly game. So, as a result, Rowan said that they were working on a game for us. So, we excitedly got ready to explore this new world. Rowan created a 5th edition D&D game on Roll20, all set in the Witcher universe, where we all found ourselves as ex-prisoners turned monster hunters / mercs. The group itself was made up of a total of 8 players with a single DM. This definitely was going to a big game, but nothing new for us to deal with. It started off rather nicely with a jailbreak, so we began in prison and had to do work for the many crime bosses found within the walls of this large stone keep, eventually slipping our way into the sewers. Still being level 1, we fought our way past rat swarms and groups of undead until we found ourselves on the outside. This is where the problems began. After a couple of misadventures, we had gear and levels under our belts. We settled into a town and discovered rumors of vampires at work. We decided to not mess with those at level 2 and continued doing small jobs until we were ready, finally achieving level 3. When we're all off buying equipment at the market, when a single player is jumped in the middle of the day by a vampire and gets instantly ripped into shreds without being allowed to make a single roll. So obviously, we fight the vampire. This homebrew vampire. This one allowed to be touched by sunlight by using cosmetics. This battle dragged on for 2 straight hours. 7 of us all fighting a single vampire who doesn't even run away. After the vampire kills another player, suddenly our bard Jay uses an illusion to convince the vampire that we two are just vampires. It worked. Now, after the battle, we all gain XP for surviving and using diplomacy. Speaking with the vampire, she reveals that she mistook us for a rival vampire gang within the city, and that the Baron of the city is the leader of one of the most powerful clans. Directly after this, we rest up and grab our 2 other players after they made their new characters. One of the new features that our DM implemented was that when a player died, they must return as a level 1 no matter what. This still occurs even now that our highest level is level 6 and the rest of the party is either level 1 or 2. So, we now have 5 level 3s and 2 level 1s. Okay, not that great since we are being sent to fight a vampire baron and his vampire entourage of thralls disguised as guards. So, we rest and get our spell slots back and head to the keep, sneaking in and using our druid's magic to use the stormy weather to call lightning on groups of guards, killing them effectively. we make our way up the wall, killing all those armor-clad thralls, stopping the session at the door to the Baron within his chambers. The DM passes our XP, and wait, we lost levels? Yup, the DM decided that killing anything he claimed was innocent would warrant all players in loss of XP. So, as a result, we got effed over for 5 hours of battle. He punished the whole party for battling the thralls rather than avoid them. Even the players who missed a session lost their XP. Now we are even weaker than before. Somehow, we beat the vampire though. Returning to the vampire lady, I forgot her name, sorry, who sent us to kill the Baron. Now, here is the next new feature. Randomize quest rewards. Boy! So, we all rolled a D100 and got different size chests, and each size determined the number of D12s we all got to roll. It sounded cool on paper, but in practice, it was just a huge mood killer. So, we rolled, and some people got scrolls, gold, and even magic items. What did I get? A empty wooden box, no rewards. Just a middle finger to the hours I put into the session with them all. No one called this out, and since I was the only one to get nothing, I just decided to say, whatever, I'll bring it up after the game. I did not bring it up. So far we have dealt with players getting shafted because of bad rolls in these loot boxes for our quest rewards. Players losing levels due to a wonky XP loss system that deters players from choosing to be evil. And a system where players who die will be forced to be a teddy bear in someone's backpack until they could take a slap from a goblin without dying. Unfortunately, these systems have made it to where some members of the game just do not get to play anymore. Hours of work being put in just for a metaphorical middle finger to tell you that your time is not worth anything but a empty box. Hours of leveling lost in a second, to the point that now we find a player who I will call Mason has died a total of 9 times because they can never pass level 1 and are stuck fighting creatures 2 levels or more above them. Rowan constantly sets up massive groups of enemies at the same level as the highest level players, without regards to the many players that have been trapped within level 1 purgatory, leaving Mason to be permanently level 1 with our newest player who in 1 hour has died twice. I don't know if I could help Rowan change his mind about these or not, but just a full year of many small adventures chock full of punishment after punishment. I'm sorry if this story was a little vague and all over the place. If people want me to write more in detail about different parts and even go into other stories about this group, I might do it. This was mostly so I could let out some things I have been keeping in, so I hope that it was at least a fun read for someone. Ooh, that sounds like a really frustrating game. As I said before in a previous video, I'm not a fan of level penalties, especially when it's as unbalanced like in this game. Starting all the way back to level 1 sounds like a headache for everyone involved, even the DM, because it's going to make it next to impossible to properly scale encounters. Also, that XP loss penalty for fighting vampire thralls, that was just pure BS. Back in the day, gameplay like this was more commonplace, but now it's horribly outdated unless you get everyone on the same page playing old school D&D. Which, well, it doesn't sound like, and the players are just suffering through it, or at least OP is. Why keep going back to the table if you're just getting the same punishment over and over again? I mean, unless you're some sort of masochist, and if you are, hey, whatever floats your boat. But honestly, it reminds me of that saying by Albert Einstein, The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. Hopefully, OP was able to reach a mutual agreement with Rowan, and if not, my best recommendation is to just walk away and find another game. Playing D&D is about having fun and not something to get stressed out over. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. And would you kindly follow the socials posted in the description below. As always, be good, be great, be awesome.